me during the end. One speaker is
Okay. Okay. I welcome everyone, and for me and for everyone here, we would all agree it is a privilege. Quite honestly, a responsibility as well. And I'll explain why I say so. Because let's admit, we are living in an age where artificial intelligence writes poetry, drives cars, diagnoses diseases, and occasionally recommends things we never searched for. AI is powerful, but power without guardrails is chaos. The real question is, can we build intelligence that is responsible? Can we scale innovation without scaling vulnerability? That brings us to our panel. Responsible AI at scale, governance, integrity, and cyber readiness for a changing world. Not theory, not speculation, but execution. To steer this conversation, we have someone who has consistently argued that cybersecurity is not a technical sidebar. It is a national priority, a digital peace builder, a cybersecurity advocate, founder, and global president of Cyber Peace. Please join me in welcoming Major Vineet Kumar. Sir, over to you.
So very good morning to everyone. It's really a proud pleasure and a privilege to be here, part of the panel. And we are all here at the AI Impact Summit and joined by an esteemed panel here. I'll do the introductions here. They're all heavyweights, by the way. So there's a long kind of bio that I got online by just doing a chat GPT. So I had to use chat GPT again to cut it short. So again, esteemed panelist, the global leader, colleagues who are here in the room. We have been joined by some delegations from different countries who are there in the room. Cyber Peace, for those who are new to Cyber Peace, we are a global non-profit headquartered in India. We are a volunteer-driven organization, and as the word suggests, we talk about amalgamation of peace in the cyberspace, trying to keep cyberspace safe, secure, and resilient for everyone. And we gather here today at a very pivotal moment. It's not just technology evolution, but it is also human decision in making. AI is scaling faster than any, I would say, technology in the history of the mankind. It is shaping economies, redefining security, influencing information ecosystems, and also transforming the way societies function. Yet the true test of progress is not how fast we innovate, but how responsibly we scale. Today's conversation on responsible AI at scale, governance, integrity, and cyber readiness is not about abstract principle. It's about national resilience, it's about democratic trust, and it's about economic opportunity that the space has to offer. And it is also about global stability. India stands uniquely positioned as a digital powerhouse, as a democracy at scale, and as a voice for the global south to shape the global narrative on trusted AI. The question before us is clear. With the distinguished leaders that we have today on the stage and with the esteemed audience that we have here in the crowd, I am confident that this discussion will move from aspiration to action. And so let us begin. We are joined by a very esteemed panelist, and we have a video message also that we'll play during the end. We have Mr. Jay Bavisi, founder and group president of EC Council, as one of the panelists. We have, and Jay is, by the way, let me read out a quick bio about Jay. Thanks, Binu, and thanks, Subi, for joining in quickly. Now that makes the panel complete, and also, if you see, it's a balanced panel. And I'm the moderator, I'm the one standing out, so thank you again, thanks for joining in. So Jay is actually the founder and group president of EC Council, a global leader in cybersecurity certification and workforce development, trusted by 7 of the Fortune 10 companies. There's a long list of his kind of achievements and all, but I'll just say that, again, he's a powerhouse when we talk about cybersecurity. And one thing that I recollect that people knew EC Council through the famous Certified Ethical Hacker certification when Jay had introduced it way back, much ages ago, I would say. We are also joined by another speaker, Carly. Thanks again for joining in. Carly is the Director and Head of Public Policy, or APJC of Cloudflare. Carly is a geopolitical strategist and Head of Public Policy for Asia Pacific, Japan, China at Cloudflare. Pardon me if I'm reading something wrong. This is what I got it from ChatGPT, and I've just put it here together. So, and yeah, based in Singapore, she actually leads regional engagement at the intersection of emerging technology, digital sovereignty, and also cyber resilience. And we know Cloudflare, in fact, has been a great supporter to what CyberPeace is doing. We have done series of build-a-thons with IITs and different academic institutions, and we've got some excellent innovation thanks to Cloudflare for supporting it. We have also been joined by, again, a dear friend, a long-time dear friend, Subi Chaturvedi, Global Senior Vice President and Chief Corporate Affairs and Public Policy Officer of InMobi, a long-time supporter of CyberPeace when probably we had started in the early days, and Subi had been one person who had been behind us that, guys, you should move forward. So she's again a powerhouse supporting CyberPeace and the initiative. She actually leads global strategy across public policy, regulatory engagement and corporate affairs, a recognized voice in digital governance and technical policy diplomacy. Next speaker that we have is all the way from Russia. And thank you, Anna, for joining, and that too at a very short notice. Associate Professor of St. Petersburg State University. Anna is an Associate Professor specializing in international governance, digital regulations, and emerging technology policy. Her research focuses on comparative AI governance models, multilateral coordination, and intersection of national regulatory systems with global institutional framework. And the place where Anna has helped CyberPeace a lot is also working on the CyberPeace Global Index, the first index that emerges from the Global South. And Anna, I'd request you, maybe in your speech, you can also mention about that, the work that we have done, where responsible AI, ethical AI is one of the verticals that we have focused. And you should see that live by the end of the year. We announced that during the Internet Governance Forum in 2025, followed by that the UN Cyber Convention in Vietnam, when we had the expert roundtable and the second expert roundtable at CyberPeace Summit in the same place, Bharat Mandapam, just a week ago. We have, again, a great leader, Binu, all the way from India to US and from US to India. That's what Binu is trying to do and trying to give back to society at large. So Binu is the CEO and co-founder of Cybel, a global cyber security intelligence company specializing in threat intelligence, digital risk monitoring, and dark web analytics. I'm sure, Binu, you'll be speaking about it and the way Cybel has been doing, trying to create that ecosystem, and also the way you are helping Suraksha Catalyst and trying to bring up that entire ecosystem to get startups from India to the US. So that's where Binu has been instrumental, and would look forward to hearing your views. And finally, we have our very own Lieutenant General Rajesh Pansa, former National Cyber Coordinator to Government of India and member of the Global Advisory Council of CyberPeace. Lieutenant General Pant served as a National Cyber Coordinator, where he led national cybersecurity strategy and interagency coordination across government, defense, and critical sectors. More on General Pant, if you just do a Google search, in fact, not just General Pant, if you search their names on Google, you'll get the entire bios. I'm just cutting it short because the timer is clicking and I'm going a little fast. So with that, I would like to, in fact, invite our first speaker, because we know AI and the need of AI. We have seen a lot of interesting use cases. Go talk about any sector, any particular segment that you go, AI has been a great enabler. But with all good things, we have something to tackle, and that is where we talk about AI safety and basically the misuse of AI, deepfake, AI-generated misinformation. There are several other challenges that are happening. So how can we counter that and make sure that AI scales? And this is what we are going to talk about, AI scaling of artificial intelligence in the era of agentic AI, and several other kind of new innovations that are happening. So I am going to invite our very first speaker, Dr. Subi. And my question to Subi here is that we hear a lot about responsible AI principles, Subi, but implementation is where countries struggle. where does responsible AI governance look like in practice, especially when we talk about population, the scaling population, and how does government, industry, academia, and civil society share responsibility to make it real? And let me also share everyone that 2023, when Cyber Peace was doing the summit, we were doing as part of the G20 Summit on Trust and Safety. We also had released the FIST framework, where Subi has been the main, I would say, person behind the framework. So I'll request Subi to share a brief on that as well. And my only request to all the speakers is the time. So please check the time, and please try to limit yourself as quick as possible. And we have an expert, I would say, a surprise speaker for all of you. This morning I got a call from Suresh sir from the Commonwealth Secretariat. And I just told him, I saw him in the room, sir, that we need to hear your voice also. So I will invite you at the end, sir, to share your remarks on the entire, basically the deliberation that happened. So Suresh sir, in fact, I had the opportunity of working with Suresh sir in the Commonwealth Secretariat, where we were part of a consortium on AI for the industry, academia, civil society, and I had a chance to contribute, and he was leading all that conversation there. He is right now the director at the Commonwealth Secretariat. So I'll invite you, sir, also to share your remarks. Over to you, Subi. Thank you.
Thank you, Vineet. Thank you for doing this incredible job of stitching the entire panel together, getting us all in the room. And it's a drizzly morning. Thank you for all of you that you showed up in such strength and numbers. I think why we're all here is really important, and this conversation strikes at the heart of it. So I come from a company called InMobi. InMobi is India's first unicorn. We became a unicorn when this was not a buzzword. This was built by people who came from Kanpur, from Uttar Pradesh, and if we were a country, we jokingly say we'd be the 5th largest country in the world. We solve for things at population scale, and which is why understanding this is so important. My journey started from telecom, and that's where policy, industry, media, academia, government, and so therefore this panel is stitched so well together that you have representation without each of us playing our rightful roles, and that's how the WSIS defines internet governance. The journey between telecom and internet is very, very different. So when we're talking about responsible AI, you are not just solving for the air conditioning. You will not just look at models from the West where we'll put privacy first. Yes, it's very, very important. We talk about privacy by design. But when you look at this summit being hosted for the first time in the Global South, you're looking at solutions, you're looking at proliferation, you're looking at access, you're looking at connecting the unconnected. And all of that cannot happen without frameworks that solve for transparency, that solve for accountability, that solve for inclusion. So when we created our second unicorn, that's called Glance, it sits on top of the lock screen without unlocking the phone, 550 million devices, and that means about 55 crore people access content for the first time. That's the first interaction that they have with the internet using the mobile phone without ever having to download an application. So what are we solving for, and what is at stake? It's freedom, it's integrity. Each time you don't look at sovereign models that are inclusive, equitable. And that's why we say integrity is at the heart of every single conversation that we'll have. And I'm so glad that we have representation from almost all countries that matter, that make up more than 60% of the world's internet. So that's the power of the voice that is in the room. What do we look for? Therefore, we came up with the FIST framework together with Cyber Peace. We launched it with USI, the United Service Institute of India, and with support from MasterCard and Tata Sons. And we say FIST puts integrity, safety, and trust at the heart of every single conversation. I come from academia, and this is where, conversations around ensuring that the nerds, geeks, developers need to be in the room. So we need to solve for access, we need to solve for compute, we need to solve for talent. That's where India will always win. 40% of AI's talent sits in this country, but we need to make sure that they're being utilized. 40% of all women in STEM are from this country. We need to make sure by the time the funnel tapers down to professional integration. And that's why you don't just need to be getting a seat at the table. In case you have to, you need to also build your own table. And you need to be that voice in the room. So frameworks need to solve for creating a data intelligent nation. They will not just imbibe Western models, they will create our own models. And that's why the JAM Trinity, that's where Digital India, which our Prime Minister created in 2014, really matters. And that is why when you layer BharatNet on top of it, which is connecting all 600,000 villages of India, 250,000 village panchayats and local self-governments. So applications, use cases, getting integrity to understand that AI can only be countered by AI. And misinformation, disinformation are very, very real risks that we need to solve for. So watermarking, looking at examples like Vineet's put together something called the trust trace. How do we make sure that you tell the person in the village that it's not just stitching videos and images, that everything that you see needs to be questioned. So watermarks are important. So social media companies will need to step up and show a little more in terms of accountability. You need to make sure that you don't take away the thing that is most essential, and which is trust. So responsible frameworks will not just happen in countries from the West. They will come out from the global South, from island nations, from landlocked countries. And we need to make sure critical infrastructure is going to be at the heart of every single conversation. We need to make sure that once young girls and women come online, not revenge porn, not gender-based violence, and technology-led violence, technology-mediated violence. So those are the conversations that we'll need to solve for. We need to stop treating young people just as consumers. They need to be treated as equal stakeholders. So India created prosumers. We are producers as well as consumers. And that's the model that's working everywhere. So getting a seat on the table. And I'm most excited that so many young people are in the room, so many young girls are in the room. You've already made the first right step. You've shown up. You are sitting here. Every time a consultation comes out, a draft note comes out, please participate. Please put in your recommendations. And the last thing that I want to leave you with there are 5 I-STAR organizations. There's the ITU, there's ISOC, there's IETF, where standards are written, codes are written. Please show up in great numbers. So my 3 years at the United Nations Internet Governance Forum, we advocated very strongly for at least 2 seats for the youth community to be part of the multi-stakeholder advisory group. That's the group that advises the United Nations Secretary General. We did 18 main sessions. We created a dedicated best practice forum where we are countering and mitigating gender-based violence. So we have to ensure, and it's our collective responsibility, that not only will you get more people online, once they come online, they will be safe, and AI frameworks in particular. And that's the very, very important thing under consideration. Each time you don't create models that come out of here, you leave about $11,000 billion on the table. We cannot afford to do that. The contribution that AI is going to make is larger than the combined GDP of India and China. So more use cases in agri-tech, solve for the farmer in Meerut and Belandur and Hubli and Dharwad, solve for the young student who will need remedial education. That's what AI is solving for. It's solving for teacher training ratios. So what Vineet has done here through a multi-stakeholder panel and cyber peace as an intervention where government, academia, civil society and the public sector sits together, that's the most perfect model to ensure AI is responsible and AI is equitable. Vineet, I'll stop here.
Thank you, Subi, and thanks for setting up the entire context also. And yes, it's always the case when you are speaking. So, thank you again. And with Subi now, I want to move on to Anna. And again, you wear multiple hats, Anna, but you're also associate professor of St. Petersburg University. And when we talk about inclusivity, we talk about accessibility. In all the conversation, I think the role of the non-profits, NGOs, civil society, and the people at large becomes very critical. Also academia. So I want you to wear both the hats and share maybe how NGOs can adopt AI, and NGOs, and also I'll add academia can adopt AI and turn knowledge into sustainable and social impact. You can also share your experiences from the coordination lab. So over to you, Anna, please.
Thank you very much. It works, yeah?
Yeah, it works.
So good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here in India. As my experience shows, I'm a professor. I work as an expert, as leading researcher, and also as CEO of non-profit Coordination Lab. And what I see is that most institutions, like states, universities, research institutes, they cannot transform that fast. So even if they generally want to. So yeah, of course, large tech companies, they can, but everyone else struggles. And as a CEO of nonprofit, I believe that small, agile organizations can turn AI wave to stable public value. Because our main problem today as a society, as a humanity, is actually speed because of AI development. So the problem is how to keep up without losing quality, legitimacy, and trust. And one of the answers that I can give is that we have to scale impact by uniting three things. The first is open knowledge. The second is community, and the third is regular updates. And that's why our organization, together with leading research universities in Russia, we developed a living textbook on research and teaching in the age of AI. But to have only one textbook, it's not enough. So that's why we also develop infrastructure around it. So we made a researchers club, summer school, and also a program which is called AI from Zero for those who feel like left behind of this development. And of course, it's very important to have partnership among academia, partnership with technological companies, because without speaking with those who develop AI, it's impossible to understand all these practical aspects. And of course, international cooperation. So that's why we are really happy to support cyber peace initiatives, to support BRICS Council work on AI. We're doing analytics for BRICS and different other initiatives. So thank you very much. I don't want to take a lot of time, but really great to be here.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you so much for your brief interaction. And in fact, next, if we get time, I'd like to come and speak to you on the index part of it, on how index can be the point to measure responsible ethical AI, and how can countries kind of implement it. So something that I'd like to have you in the next set of conversation if time permits. Now with that, I would like to move to you, Carly. In fact, my question to you is that there's a growing recognition that responsible AI is not just a governance question, but a cyber resilience question. What does cyber readiness actually look like for AI systems in practice? And how should governments and enterprises, and also I'll add academia, so government, academia, and different enterprises of all sizes, MSMEs included, builds resilience across full AI life cycle. So over to you, Carly, for your remarks.
Thank you very much. Excuse me. So for those of you who don't know Cloudflare, Cloudflare is a global digital infrastructure company. Our network spans 125 countries, 330 cities. 30 of those are in India, from like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. This is an important point, and this is why we work with CyberPeace, is that we started in cybersecurity protecting websites, and now we're moving into AI security as we're 15 years along, we're growing. But we started with a free plan, and that's why 20% of the internet runs through our network. It's millions and millions and millions of customers that rely on our free cybersecurity services, and increasingly on our AI security services. And I do want to say that our partnership with CyberPeace is really focused on access and enablement. And so where we started, it's the first time we've ever done this globally. I want to say what we're doing with CyberPeace is unique to Cloudflare globally, and we're very proud of our partnership with CyberPeace. The first thing we did is we did a training for Indian SMEs on how just to use our free cybersecurity services. This is how you log in. It takes about 5 minutes. And it was a very special moment for us as a team, actually, to do that. So thank you, Vineet, for your partnership. But Cloudflare, like I said, we're a digital infrastructure company. We are basically a middleman. We sit in between our customers and their users, okay? And the internet, basically, right? The world, right? And so we protect stuff that's going into our customers, and we help our customers protect what's going out to their users, so we get to see this really neat flow of traffic. And on the AI side, what we're noticing is an unbelievable increase in cybersecurity attacks. So 53%, okay, so Cloudflare has been protecting our customers against DDoS attacks since we started. This past year, we've seen a 53% increase in DDoS attacks. And what we call monster DDoS attacks, which is 1 terabyte per second or more, we've seen a 20% increase in the past few months on these attacks. And so we can see that AI is just driving an incredible amount of cybersecurity. Thankfully, Cloudflare has been using machine learning since we started, and now increasingly AI, so we're able to absorb these attacks, and that's our job, is to absorb these attacks. But it is a new landscape, right? Yes. And so how do we think about AI security? So Cloudflare is building AI security tools, but I think we're trying to think about the principles of AI security, and I think there are lessons learned from cybersecurity, right? I don't think we think about, and I think it was mentioned in the opening comments, it shouldn't just be an add-on security. We have learned from lessons from the past. So when the internet was created, it was not built with security principles at all. So we had to bolt on security to the internet. There's a moment now where we can build with security with AI. I think that's what we need to be focused on about responsible AI. Is it's built into the products. We're shipping products that have built-in security in them. I think that's something we really need to think about. And it's going to get tricky, I think, with agentic AI.
Yes.
You're going to have this little bot walking around with a key to all of your assets. How do we even think about that? Yeah. When it goes and does something wrong, when it just unleashes all your data or spends all your money, who's at fault? How do we track it? How do we authenticate it? These are questions I think that globally they're starting to consider. So the big golden standard, and we talk about how does this relate to India? How does India become a leader in setting standards? Typically, the big global standard for setting cybersecurity standards is NIST in the United States, yes. Right? They're just starting to think about agentic AI security and how do we treat it. Now, Singapore has just come out with another agentic AI security framework. So this is really a burgeoning area, and if you think about where India can maybe take a stake, is maybe in agentic AI security. Yes. I think India should have a big voice in this. Yes. The talent in India, and I want to say, this is because of our work with CyberPeace, the talent in India is insane. Incredible. Right? So how do we leverage this talent to really think about this unique global problem? And this is the moment, because we're all thinking how to approach this. Now, I do want to say as a company, as a global company, please do not do something different. The worst thing is that India is doing its own thing, the US is doing its own thing, Singapore is doing its own thing. That's a nightmare for a global company to deal with. So we also have to think about how do we collaborate globally. So that's my big plea to everybody in the audience. Collaborate. But I'll stop there. Thank you.
Thank you, Carly. And in fact, I completely agree. And not just me, I'm sure everyone in the room agrees. Collaboration is the way forward in a borderless world that we live in. And also with agentic coming in, I was just in a Google roundtable discussion where we are talking about scams, frauds. We had people from across the globe discussing how the scam networks are bringing, and now agentic is going to be a nightmare. Because so far there had been hotspots, like in India we have Jamtara and other places where scams are being conducted by actual people. Now with agentic coming in, it's all automated. So, and also different set of frauds, scam, ransomware, things that are going to happen. And what I feel is collaboration is something that is extremely important. And with that, I'd like to now come to, again, a dear friend, Jay Bavisi, founder of EC Council. Basically, Jay, you sit at the intersection of cybersecurity, policy, and skill development. From your global vantage point, where do you see the biggest gap today between how fast AI is being deployed and how prepared institutions actually are to govern and secure it? Are institutions prepared to govern and secure it? So your views, Jay.
Thank you very much, Major Vineet. Glad to be here. I just wanted to put this in perspective. So I'm the guy that created a certified ethical hacker certification. Those of you in cybersecurity may have heard of it. I want to tell you that 2001, when I created CH, there was a world that was very uncertain. Cybersecurity was not defined. And the world was going through an entire new level of metamorphosis where security became a new threat and there was a need. What I'm experiencing now reminds me of what I saw 25 years ago, but at a completely different scale. It's insane. So let's put this in perspective. Does anyone know how much it cost to put a human being, the Apollo program? Do you know how much it costed the US, NASA, to put a man on moon? $25 billion. In today's money, 250 billion US dollars. The amount of money we're going to spend in AI this year alone is $2.6 trillion. That's 12 zeros. And that's the lower estimate. The higher estimate is $4.4 trillion. Now think of that for a second. 80 countries have already created frameworks, an AI framework. So do we have lack of framework? Not really, right? The NIST AIMF framework is already there. The ISO 42001 is there. Many countries, like what we have heard from the fellow panelists, it's already there. But remember, before AI, we already had one shortage. Human beings in cybersecurity. We already have 4 million shortage of cybersecurity personnel. We haven't come to AI yet. This is human to human combat that we're talking about. Now we are layering a $2.6 trillion investment in technology that we really don't understand. Everyone in this room understands LLMs, we understand hallucinations, so let's not talk about this. The question is, how are we going to implement this safely? How are we going to adopt AI? How are we going to defend AI? And how are we going to govern AI? So the simple response I have to this question is, human beings will have to be the people that are going to be dealing with adoption, dealing with defense, and dealing with governance. Take a look at any organization that you know today. I can't think of one organization that I know that doesn't use AI. In fact, the data shows that 75% of most businesses already use AI. Question: do we have governance in place? Do we think of rolling back AI after its use? Do we figure out where the data is actually permeating? No, we don't. I was at Black Hat recently. I asked a question. I said, we sign NDAs, right? We human beings sign non-disclosure agreements. And we take your secrets and we say, yeah, absolutely, this is going to be a secret. It's with me. But someone in the department is going to put this into some LLM out there. And LLM is opaque. You have no idea where your data is going. What happened to your non-disclosure agreement? It creates a whole level of liability. I can talk about this the entire day and still not come to an end. So the point is, we need to build human capability. So think of this as a moment to the humans in the room, right? If you think that, oh my God, AI is going to take over my job. Yeah, AI is going to take over quite a lot of jobs. I was reading an article yesterday, a major consulting firm created 25,000 new jobs for AI agents, not human beings. So yeah, will AI eat human jobs? Yeah, it will. But humans will need to now move on to the next level. So think of it like, we're in a horse carriage era and we have just built the new engine. We will now have to learn to, to be able to deal with this. So the simple response I have is that for a country like India, Major, right, where a tremendous amount of technical talent exists, language is strong. You can take the Indian out of the tech. You can't take the tech out of the Indian, as they say, right? It's a pivotal moment for India to be able to build the capable humans that are going to be able to help the world implement, adopt, defend, and govern AI for the entire world. I want to end by just saying one thing. This is called the AI Impact Summit. AI can have two impacts, a positive or a negative impact. And what's pivotal in the middle, between the positive and negative, is the human being. So we need to really speed up the development of workforce in a structured manner, not through a 2-minute Instagram video, right? This is through governance, having a workforce that's developed through a measurable systems and having a certified workforce that the world requires. So
thank you.
I hope that helps.
Thank you, Jay, and I also completely agree. Yes, thank you. I think you're right. You passed on the mic to the right person. That was my next question to Binu. But then reskilling, I feel this is the time when we need to talk about those conversations because traditional jobs are going. reskilling is something that we also feel that we should focus more on that. And also the positive impact of AI is something that we all should work together to kind of achieve it, because AI, again, I'll repeat the same line, it's a great enabler. But then negativity has to be countered with the positive use cases and the positivity that the AI brings in. And with that, I come to you, Binu. In fact, and Binu, you had led a company that actually tracks a lot of these scams, frauds, ransomware attacks, and all in real time. From your point of view in threat intelligence, how is AI changing the nature, speed, and scale of cyber attacks that organization, and when I say organization, again, it's all. Again, same thing, MSMEs, startups, academia, all included. Actually, they can why they need to actually counter this new form and next generation of attacks, and how can they actually build the cyber resilience when we talk about these volumes of attacks, like Carly just mentioned about TBs of attacks that are happening, DDoS attacks and all that. So how can organization be cyber resilient when you talk about the space like this, the agentic world, and also looking forward to get your views.
No, thank you, Vinit. And I think I'll probably kick off by sharing a very personal story. So 3 years ago, and by the way, those who are getting annoyed, it's my brother-in-law wedding, so I've got henna in my hands. So don't get distracted.
We've pulled you from that wedding.
It's just a customary thing. I do it. I love it, to be honest. But anyway, 3 years ago, my chief of staff actually got a WhatsApp call, which was mimicking my own voice, and they were basically asking her to process certain transaction. Now she got suspicious, and she eventually figured out this was a deep fake call or somebody was just scamming her. Fine. 4 days ago, my 8-year-old son, he wrote a program deepfaking my own mother. So what Jay just mentioned about trillions of dollars are going into AI, this is where the real impact is coming out. It's becoming industrialized. It's a structural change. We are seeing there's so much of sophistication, so many easy tools are available in the market now that you can literally go and try to basically break the entire enterprise infrastructure. It's already happening. So just to give you a context, on an average day, we are seeing around 70 to 100,000 new deepfake audio calls in our systems. And many of them are very, very sophisticated. In fact, many of them are actually being bypassing our own algorithms to detect them. We are seeing phishing emails. So I'm sure since 1980s, we have been talking about phishing emails or scam emails coming out. We don't see those grammatical errors or odd characters coming on these emails anymore. We are seeing that these are like emails with all the context. Like agents are going on LinkedIn, understanding what people are posting about and crafting a specialized phishing email, sending it to the targeted audience. We actually received a couple of them this morning, myself included, by the way. Very, very targeted, because people are just leaving these AI agents on the internet who are continuously learning, having an amazing memory system, and they are making their attacks more interesting. We are seeing DARPA actually organized back in the US on how you can use AI to find zero-day vulnerabilities. And they were pretty successful. In fact, one of my friends actually got second prize over there. The cool part is many of these AI systems are now able to chain different vulnerabilities in different systems to ultimately create a sophisticated mechanism to break into an enterprise software. And we are seeing several evidences of happening it right now. We are also seeing that, just to add some humors, today agents are actually hiring human beings, for those who don't know. So humans are getting employed by the AI agents. I think we are into a very interesting AI race era, which in my humble opinion is of a significant national security issue. Because as these systems are continuously learning, collecting data from different enterprises, even institutions, also from the academia, these systems are fundamentally learning more about the entire country than anybody else. And there's a fundamental issue on how you are protecting these systems at the moment. Today, AI is seen as mostly as an infrastructure layer. They're not necessarily thinking this has to be a cognitive layer in the enterprises. And hence why the investments in terms of protecting these AI systems is still significantly lower. There are a lot of applications people are building around it, and that's why you have some amazing unicorns and companies coming up. And we also, as a company, use a lot of AI native stack in our portfolio. But the risk is still highly significant. We are seeing, on an average, I think 50 to 100 companies getting compromised, where AI has played certain role in the entire attack chain. Could be as basic as doing some recon, to as sophisticated as writing the actual phishing email to compromise a developer account. So the implications are significant, and I don't see any indication that this is going to slow down anytime soon. In fact, we're seeing that deepfakes are becoming a lot more prominent now, where it's not just about collecting some bitcoins, which used to be the case 3 years ago. Like, you would have a celebrity asking to transfer some Bitcoin here in exchange of some, kudos or applause. But today, I mean, we have had companies who lost millions of dollars because somebody dialed into a meeting room and asked somebody to do something. Like literal deepfake video coming on a Zoom call or Teams call, asking them to do something. So, it's a structural change as far as we are looking at as a company, and we're still catching up. I don't want to give anybody any false sense of assurance that we have all the right technologies or models to be able to detect some of these advanced attacks. In fact, there are a number of breaches which are not even known in the public domain as of today. And I just hope that the government and the regulators do the right thing in terms of having a transparent and responsible disclosure, so that the public and the industry, the public and the private partnerships can come up with a clear structure framework on how we can protect the AI systems around the enterprises as well as around the governments. That's
Thank
what my
you.
take.
Thank you, Binu. Thank you for your reflection. And now, since we are at time, I'll request General Pant, sir, if you can share your views. I don't have a question for you, sir, but I would request you to share your reflection on the entire panel. And then I will come back to the panel again. I'm also looking at the watch that is just ticking. So I want you to be ready with one quick answer in 30 seconds. And the question is, if you had to advise government, industry, academia, and the civil society on one priority to improve cyber readiness for the AI-driven systems, what could it be? And there's an additional question, and why, but then if you start explaining, it will take more. So I'll leave it there, what it could be. So please be prepared. I'll just do a quick round with your answer. Sir, over to you, sir.
Thank you, Vineet, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I seem to be the only one with white hair in this panel, so it's making me feel a bit odd.
I have some.
Yeah. But Vineet, I was just thinking, you need to create another organization,
Sir.
AI Peace. Then all the things that you've done for cyber now need to be done for AI. And what I personally feel is that in this panel of responsible AI at scale, the next 2 years are really important. They are going to define the next 20 years for India. Because after 20 years, we reach where the PM's vision of a developed India is. And in 2 years, we have to really tackle the aspect of creating responsible AI at scale with a number of actions on the governance front. India has large advantages. We already have a digital public infrastructure. We have the scale. We are a democracy. We have the technical talent. So we should do a SWOT analysis and take off from there. As far as the cybersecurity part is concerned, what I am seeing is that AI is being used both for the attack as well as for the defense. In the attack, there is a MITRE framework. It's called the Atlas framework, where 13 steps of the cyber attack kill chain are given. In each of these steps, today AI is being used. And it is seeing your defensive system, it is morphing itself, appearing benefic and coming inside. Similarly, on the defense side, we are finding that AI is used to now spot zero-day attacks also. So it is actually AI versus AI. To cut it short, I just made a 5-pillar framework for governance. The first pillar is safety. We have to be careful about risk assessment, audits, and red teaming. Second is about security, that is secure by design, and we've been discussing that. Third is integrity, that is the quality of data, and we have to cater for misinformation, etc. Fourth is accountability in terms of transparency and oversight. And finally is the inclusiveness, which is very important from the Indian point of view, that is AI accessible for all in multilingual languages. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And with that, in fact, the entire discussion on the panel is done, but I'll request all the panelists to come up with those one priority. I'll go in order, but I must also acknowledge the audience in the room. So sorry, we had limited seats, so we could not make arrangement for more seats, but it's good to have you. Yes, and also we have a reflection from Suresh, sir. Request you, sir, if you can share a quick reflection, and then we can quickly run through the priorities, sir. Over to you, sir. You can, yes, sir.
Good morning, and I'm very fortunate, and I give surprises to Vineet, and I get these surprises back on a scale of 100x. So thank you, Vineet. You have made me more resilient. So the point I just wanted to emphasize that it has been very fantastic discussions from the panel members, and it highlights one point that one side you have tremendous opportunities. Like India, I say $5 trillion economy, but at the level of European Union GDP per capita, India has a potential of over 70 trillion. If you look at the US, we the country has a potential of almost the size of world economy, around 130 trillion. Now the question is that without diffusing the technologies, we're not going to achieve that scale, because already the others have already achieved that scale. So how do we leapfrog? How do we reach to that level? And that's where technology becomes very, very important. Diffusion, vertically, horizontally, in all the aspects. But the other question, as pointed out by very esteemed panelists, the challenges, the security. How do you manage that? How do you manage that trust? If people find that everything is not trustworthy, the adoption, the diffusion is going to be challenges. As in the beginning, we couldn't use the debit card, credit card, because everybody was afraid of putting that information in the internet domain. So that's where the world needs to come with the framework. As rightly pointed out, we have over so many frameworks all around the world, but this is another challenge. How much you regulate, how much framework you create. Whether you want to be on the adoption side, we want to be on the regulation side. It's a very, very tough choice for a country like India with the vast population base, with different understanding, different literacy level. But one thing which is very important, I'd say, about India is that you may be illiterate by the definition of normal literacy, but you will be AI literate, because AI breaks down the barrier. Through the Bhojpuri, you are connected to French, Spanish, German. So that's the multilingual capability which is coming to you. So I'm sure that these challenges, these opportunities, we will emerge as a superhuman being. We will have super intelligence, not only AI. If AI is learning from the entire enterprises, entire systems, we human beings have to evolve. And that's why I give credit to Elon Musk about the neural link. Hopefully we will have a chip, biochip, which will allow us to learn to be the same speed where the models trained on trillion parameters will allow us to think. So that's the positive hope I have. But then we have to see that we are not biohacked by somebody else, right? So these are very different challenges. And we are in a very, very exciting time, particularly the young generation which is there. For you, a lot of challenges. Our generation has brought a lot of challenges for you, a lot of hope for you. And as pointed out, we need AI peace. Otherwise, it's going to be very, very challenging and fragile. So thank you very much always for this opportunity to share this.
Thank you, sir. And with that, I also would like to acknowledge the presence of our Additional Director General, Territorial Army, sir, Major General S.S. Patil, sir. Thank you, sir, for your esteemed presence and support in the room, sir. And I would request every panelist to, within 30 seconds, time is over. So quickly, start with you, Subi.
Thank you,
One
Vineet.
priority.
engaging discussion. I think everything that needs to be said has been said. We just have one ask, and that's always our Santa wish list. Make sure that AI principles of risk assessment move to operationalization. And that is where more inclusion, more consistency, understanding this like the fourth dimension, air, water, land, now cybersphere. And that's where participation and richness of intervention. I'm so glad TA is here. We will create more cyber champions, and that's where stakeholders like yourselves are going to play a part. One very, very urgent task is to not hide and not see this as shameful. If you get an attack on your shop or an establishment, you'll immediately file an FIR. Include this in a national database, make it more transparent, make it a matter of pride that you were attacked. That means you've got something valuable and worthwhile. More collaboration, more curation, and more engagement with stakeholders that matter. That's
Thank you.
all.
Thank you, Subi. Thank you. Carly.
Just to reiterate, let's not repeat the mistakes of the past. Let's build products with security in them. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Carly. Anna?
So I wanted to highlight a bit your initiative, Cyberpeace. I think it's very important to have more such initiatives that not focusing only on states, power, tech companies, but on the experience of ordinary people on the ground, how they perceive cybersecurity, digital rights, and so on. So we support it, and I think we have a hope for more initiatives from Global South, because on international level we see that there is a fragmentation. Like REAIM Summit just showed that both China and United States, they declined to sign the final declaration. So yeah, we hope for UN and the initiatives from global majority. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Pansa.
Now, I just want to end on a positive note that AI will be good for humanity, and international collaboration is very important. Governance is extremely important at this stage.
Nice.
As I said, next 2 years are really important for India and the rest of the world.
Thank you. Jay?
I would just say that if you're spending $2.6 trillion in a technology and you don't have humans that know how to implement it safely, you're in trouble. Start by capability development right from the very start. Start from the primary schools, high schools, professionals, and even the knowledge workers that are actually using it. So I would say workforce development needs to be the focus of the hour.
Thank you.
I think my final take is based upon how I started my career, which was an ethical hacker or a penetration tester. So for the enterprises or any academia, I think red teaming, which is basically trying to hack your AI infrastructure, AI models, or AI assumptions, or stress testing them from a security standpoint, I think are going to be most critical, especially at these early stages where we are still building up the entire security infrastructure around it. That would be my biggest recommendation for enterprises and governments also.
Thank you, Binu, and thank you all the esteemed panelists. We are running slightly beyond time, and thank you the audience who is there, who is present here. We have a kind of announcement of a white paper that's written, and we'd request everyone to kind of release the white paper, if you can give to the panelists also. It's a white paper on AI agents, autonomous interaction, and cybersecurity risk, a strategic framework for a Surakshit Bharat. So I request if you all can release it, and it's an announcement, so you can feel free to add your pointers and all. We'll do the final release later. So. I'll also request the ADGTA officer if you can also join for the group picture.
Please be in touch. We've been here to love Institute. Please again say thank you to you. Thank you again. So this EDI team is a company is a whole
one group picture with all of us. We will just do that. Can we have the memento presentation, please, quickly? So, Dr. Sumi, we'll start with you. Sorry, I'm going a little fast. Otherwise, we keep off from the room. Sir, you, sir. Yes. Sorry. And final one for Jay.